Hello and welcome to Horror Cult Trash Over, the show that discusses all the masterpieces and trash the pieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 20. How crazy is that? 20 episodes. 20 episodes of us talking shit about trashy films.
Yes, that's gone quick.
Well, Happy New Year. It's 2020 now.
Well, 20 in 2020.
What? Yes. Brilliant. Anyway, so we're here today to do something a little different. Well, not too different to what we did last week. Obviously, we mainly discuss a lot of older films on here. But we figured we'd start and end every year with a bit of a list. And today we have our most anticipated films of this year. Most anticipated horror films of this year, should I say.
Yes, yeah. It's looking to be an alright year.
I struggled with what I wanted to include on this list. And that is rare. Last year it was too easy. But it does look like there's going to be a lot of good horror films out this year. We've already actually watched 2 films from this year already. We went to see The Gentleman and Jojo Rabbit yesterday, both of which, if you follow us on social media, you'll know we absolutely loved.
Yeah, both were fantastic.
It's been a good while since we've had a double bill at the cinema where both films have been absolute 10 out of 10 modern masterpieces. Like, they're both flawless. I love them both.
Yeah, they were both very, very... I don't call them flawless, but yeah, they're fantastic.
But they were quite high on the Chris Barker standards.
They were, of course, yes. My high standards of film watching.
But yeah, so I mean, that's set the bar pretty high for the rest of the year. We do have some films that we look forward to that are not horror films that we're going to mention as well. But yeah, let's...
Yeah, I think, like we said last year, when you watch as many films as we do, you know, they're not all going to be great. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about now, films that we're looking forward to, we hope that they're going to be, you know, the next Midsummer or Us.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I mean, originally The Grudge was on my list. But it's obviously been released everywhere else in the world before the UK, so... we've got to hear the hype. And normally I don't like judging films on whatever people think. I like to go and make my own mind up. And we are going to go and make our own minds up. But if Black Christmas and Cats had anything to go by, then IMDb scores should be a good guidance these days. And The Grudge is currently very low. I think it's on like a 4.1, 4.2.
Yeah.
I've not seen any... nice reviews about it. In fact, the only nice review I've seen about it is someone who often posts bad films and says that they're really good, so it didn't really give me a lot of faith.
No.
Yeah, which is a massive... I mean, you know, again, we haven't seen it yet. We can't really say anything, but it's disappointing that it's got this reaction, considering, you know, it's got Lynn Shay in it, it's got Jackie Weaver in it, it's got a great cast. And I love the original, I like the American remake. I'm, you know... It's a property that you can really do anything with and it could be entertaining, but apparently this hasn't hit that mark.
Yeah, I've always sort of said, you know, when it comes to bad films, I can forgive a lot if I'm entertained. By all accounts, The Grudge is a bit boring, and boring films I can't forgive.
How do you know it's boring? I haven't seen it yet.
By all accounts. What people have been saying.
Oh, okay. I thought you... Alright there, Psychic Sally, calm down.
Am I going to have to write down a list of the phrases that I use so you can understand?
Wow.
Sorry.
Sound very clever.
Anyway, let's crack on.
So, our actual most anticipated films of the year. So, Saw. You haven't seen all of the Saw films, have you?
No, I've
seen
only seen the first one and quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, we will go through the rest of them before this comes out. So this is going to be released on May 15th, 5 days before my birthday. Directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed Saw 2, 3 and 4.
Okay.
And starring Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock, and written by Chris Rock.
Oh.
Which is...
I didn't realise it was written by Chris Rock.
Yeah, really strange. I mean... We all know comedy and horror mix well. You know, Jordan Peele, John Krasinski,
Yeah.
You know?
Ready. Well, yeah. Oh, you mean comedians writing horror films?
Yeah. I mean, a horror comedy. I don't know if it's going to be a horror comedy, but I mean, comedians writing and directing horror films and such, you know.
I don't know how you can stay true to what Saw is and make it a all-in-out comedy.
Yeah, no, it won't be a comedy. I highly doubt it.
No. Torture porn and comedy don't really go together.
Yeah, no, it's one of those franchises that's never really gone down a comedic route. I mean, Jigsaw was a little campy. It's probably the campiest film out of the whole franchise. But really, that's as far as it went. It wasn't entirely... There's like a few jokes here and there, but... Yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jigsaw. Saw 3D, you'll see for yourself. I mean, the sequels, it's hard to judge them because it's all like one film, but not in the way that they're repetitive.
Okay.
Not like that. I mean, you can't, like Nightmare on Elm Street, you could pop on one of those films, any of those films at any time, and just watch it. You can't do that with Saw, because they all connect to each other so specifically that you have to watch them all in a row. You can't just randomly watch a Saw film.
Okay.
Unless you're watching the first one, of course. So I'm interested to see whether this reboots it or just carries on that story, because I think really we've had all we can with that story. I am interested though with Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock attached to it. It's nice to have a bit of a more, African American take on Saw, because it's not really had that yet. If I can remember right, no, we haven't. No, we haven't really had any African American leads in Saw as of yet. I mean, unless you're counting the first film with was it Donald Glover?
Donald Glover, yeah.
But I mean, he wasn't really a lead character. But yeah, so I'm quite excited to see where they go with it, and that's why it's on my list. It was originally The Grudge in that place, but this took over that. What you got on yours?
What I've got on mine is I'm sure you've got it on yours as well. Is VFW?
Yes, I have.
So VFW stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't scream horror necessarily. But yeah, it's from the director of Bliss.
Yes, Joe Bagos. Which is one of our favourite horror films of last year. Yes.
So this bodes very well. I don't think it's going to get a wide release or anything.
Well,
it's
being released in America on Valentine's Day, February 14th.
But a wide release.
I don't know if it's wide release, it might be VOD, but I'm really hoping it's going to be shown at Glasgow Fright Fest.
That's what we're excited for.
Yeah, the director is known to pretty much show all of his films at Fright Fest, so I'm hoping this one is going to be there. It's starring Stephen Lang from Don't Breathe, he was fantastic in Don't Breathe, so I look forward to seeing what he does in this. William Sadler, who plays Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and Martin Cove as well. So it's
Martin Cove, who was one of the cops in the original House on Last House on the Left. Excuse me. And also George Wendt again.
Yeah.
From Cheers fame.
Have you got the plot down?
Yeah, so it's about a group of war veterans that must defend their local VFW post and an innocent teen against a deranged drug dealer and his relentless army of punk mutants.
See, that just screams class of 1984.
Assault on Precinct 13.
Assault on Precinct 13, Class of Nukem High. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what punk mutants mean.
I just think of Class of Nukem High. And
or that Linda Blair film, Grotesque.
Yeah. It just, either way, that's such a good premise. The trailer looks great.
Yeah, it does look really good, actually. It does. Looks very stylish again. He does a real great... stylish.
And it's got a girl from Bliss in it.
But we're not sure what she's going to be. She's not going to be the main girl.
Is she not? Okay.
No, not by the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that this group of older men are protecting a young teen as well in the film. So, and that's a female teen. So it's got that bit of female representation as well. So it's not just loads of old men fighting teens.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love this whole stylish action horror phase that has been present for a few years now. I mean, obviously we had You're Next, Don't Breathe. I don't know if I'd class Don't Breathe as action horror, but it's more action-packed than most horror films. And this looks like it's tying in with that sort of phase.
Yeah, very exciting, and it's probably the smallest film on our list in terms of a lot of them are gonna have wide releases, gonna be at the cinema, or gonna have big names or big names attached to them. Whereas this one, we're hoping will be at Fright Fest. We might miss it otherwise.
I mean, there's probably a lot of films that we haven't even heard of that are going to be shown at Fright Fest this year. I mean, we didn't even know Bliss existed until it was announced Fright Fest. So I mean, that's the joy of going to that every year. There's plenty of films that won't even be on our radar now that might end up being in our favourite films of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up on my list, I've got Antlers, directed by Scott Cooper, who hasn't really made a horror film before, I don't think. He made a film called Black Mass. But it is being produced by Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, who produced last year's
Scary Stories
to Tell in the Dark, and is also
a visionary director.
Yeah, legend of the horror film.
It's being released on April 17th, wide release I assume, and it's starring Kerry Russell and Jerry Plemons and Jeremy T. Thomas. Now, Jesse Plemons is the cop from Game Night, who was in...
Oh! He always seems to be in everything.
He was in The Irishman, weren't he?
He was in The Irishman. Wasn't he in The Master as well?
I think
he's
he
one
was.
of these that pops up.
Yeah.
And he was very good in Game Night.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, I recognise him.
I think he was known from Breaking Bad, if I remember right. I mean, I've never watched Breaking Bad myself.
He's got a memorable face.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously know him from Game Night. And
where he was hilarious.
Yeah. This is about a small town teacher and her brother, the local sheriff, who become involved with a young student with a dangerous secret. Now, that's a very vague premise, but the trailer looks insane. It looks so good. Lots of great horror imagery that you can tell is, you can tell Del Toro's had a lot to do with it from the trailer.
Yeah.
And if this ever works, anything to go by, then this is going to be fantastic.
And it's called Antlers, so I'm assuming it's going to be something to do with antlers.
It doesn't even look like it from the trailer, which is strange.
But there should be a reason why it's called Antlers.
I mean, when I first saw the title, I thought it was just going to be about a killer reindeer, but but unfortunately not.
What's that Fall Out Boy music video?
Yeah, Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, maybe it's a remake of that.
You never know.
And the boy's got antlers underneath and everyone hates him.
Well, that might be the plot.
It might be.
What a surprise that would be. What's
Sorry, have I broken you with that one?
What's next on your list?
Next on my list is A Quiet Place 2.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the Habit.
Yes.
This one looks very interesting.
Yeah, directed once again by John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Krasinski,
and starring Emily Blunt.
Again. With Cillian Murphy this time.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy?
Cillian Murphy.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
So looking at the trailer for this one, what you would probably expect is that you're just going to get a rehash to the first film, where they're all having to be very quiet and all that business, which worked really well. I mean, the first film was fantastic. This one looks a little more wordy.
Yeah.
From what you've seen, the trailer has a little bit of a flashback to when shit hit the fan. We didn't get that in the first film. We were sort of thrown straight into it, weren't we? Whereas this one, there's a little bit of backstory and also the presence of the Cillian Murphy character, and the family end up with him, and there's a lot more dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, the plot itself says that, it's about them venturing into the unknown and realising that the creatures aren't the biggest threat around them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, essentially, Cillian Murphy could be playing a villain.
Exactly. So that's a really interesting
I'm interested to see how much the show of what happened before everything went crazy.
Yeah.
I mean...
So we'll probably get John Krasinski a little bit in flashbacks.
Yeah.
Which Nice.
Yeah, that's been released
Because
on...
he did really well.
That's been released on March the 20th.
Cool.
Yes, I'm really excited for that. I really loved the first film. Do you remember when we saw it in the cinema and someone fell asleep and you could hear him snoring?
Fall asleep.
Some guy just fell asleep in the cinema, and obviously this film, the whole purpose of it is, you know, you have to be quiet or, you know, you're gonna get killed by aliens. So the film is a very, very quiet film if you haven't seen it. And we went to the cinema and watched it, and some guy fell asleep and started snoring.
He'd be the first one dead, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Imagine though if you're a big snorer and you can't help it,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
true.
come and eat you up.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be very selective as to when we're going to see this, so we don't end up in a cinema full of obnoxious teenagers, because it'll no doubt be a 15.
Yes, yeah, it always runs the risk of, especially we were quite fortunate with. I know we had Snoring Guy, but we were quite fortunate with the first film. We didn't have talkers.
No.
Potentially, we might have some talky people, so we're gonna have to choose our timings wisely on that one.
The next on my list is Saint Maud. Now, this looks like an interesting one, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's a British film.
Is it? Oh, it was British.
Yeah.
Watched the trailer this morning. I did. Gary sort of made me aware of it, and it looks very interesting. It was giving me Margaret White, a bit of Carrie, a bit of religious obsession, that sort of
Yeah, and it's from
scare.
It's from A24, who have obviously been pumping out some of the most sophisticated and well-made horror films in the last few years. I mean, what's also worth mentioning, also coming from A24, is The Lighthouse, which is, I mean, I've got it on my other on the list, but it is meant to be a horror film. I've heard mixed things about it, but I'm still quite excited for The
I
Lighthouse.
feel like we've been waiting ages to watch it.
But that's from the director of The Witch. Now, when I first watched The Witch, I thought it was fine. I didn't get what everyone was making a big deal about, but I think I might need to rewatch it, because, I mean, back then, you didn't have Hereditary, you didn't have Midsommar, and you didn't have the well-made horror films like Bliss and stuff like that we've got today. So it was a bit of a shock to the system to see something so well-made, and I didn't really know how to take it. I felt weird after watching it. I kind of felt like I needed to go take a shower. But yeah, I want to rewatch that before watching The Lighthouse. But
I've not seen The Witch.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, A24, they're killing it recently. I mean, Saint Maud looks fantastic. It's got a female director, Rose Glass, and this is her directional... what is wrong with me today? Directional debut.
Directorial.
Oh, whatever. Words are failing me today. Directorial debut. Yeah, she's made short films before, and yeah, this looks great. I mean, the cast is relatively unknown.
Yeah, I didn't recognise anyone.
And I think that often helps with horror films, it can be more scary when you don't know who you're watching. This has been released on May the 1st. I'm not sure whether it's going to get a wide release, so I kind of hope it does. And it's about a nurse who becomes dangerously obsessed with saving the soul of her dying patients.
Yeah, it looked like religion was a big part of the trailer. And potentially religious obsession.
Yeah.
So that's always an interesting premise if done right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, should be good. So that's not potentially going to be a Fright Fest, is it?
I hope so. I'm not sure. I mean, it could be unpredictable. It might be.
Cool. That'd be quite good for a British film.
What you got next on yours?
Next on mine is Candyman. This is produced by Jordan Peele. So it's not going to be directed by, it's produced by Jordan Peele. Has it been confirmed that Tony Todd's returning?
It has been confirmed.
So Tony Todd returning. We're big fans of the original Candyman,
yes.
aren't we? Love that film. So good. Loved the idea of, this urban legend coming to life. The aspects of race and privilege and all that business. So I hope that continues, because that is still so relevant today.
I think it will.
You're looking, it's been almost 30 years since the original one. But still relevant.
Yeah.
Still an interesting premise. They're calling it a spiritual sequel rather than a straight up remake or reboot.
Yeah, which I'm glad, because it doesn't need to be remade.
No.
And I'm glad Tony Todd's returning. It's also starring Yahya Abdul Mateen, was that? Did I write that down wrong? Did you get the name?
I didn't get the name.
He played Black Manta in Aquaman. He's also going to be in the film. Originally, they said he was going to be Candyman, so I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know if that's still the case. I mean, with Tony Todd return, I assume it's not. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with that, because he's a great actor, and it's being directed by Nia DaCosta, who directed Crossing the Line, a modern day Western film, which we haven't seen, but I mean, the idea of a modern day Western is, always exciting. But yeah, no, it's been released on June the 12th, and yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. If it's anything like the original one, that'll be really good. Really good.
So next on my list, I have Antebellum. Do you remember watching the trailer for this?
I don't. No, not gonna.
Do you not?
Not gonna lie. Do not remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a film about a successful author who finds herself wrapped in a horrifying reality and must uncover the mind-blowing mystery before it's too late. Whilst I talk about, who it's directed by, who's in it and whatnot, do you want to have a look on your phones? I think you'll remember it. If you look at some images on IMDb, you'll remember this film. We randomly came across the trailer for this on YouTube. It just it came up with one of the ads, but it looked interesting. Normally we'd skip them, but we kept it playing. And yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic.
Oh, of course, the one with Janelle Monáe in.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this looks great.
Yeah, Janelle Monáe, Jenna Malone, directed by Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz, who have only made music videos prior to this. So this is also their first film directing. And it's being released on March 20th. No, it's not. That's A Quiet Place too. This is being released on April 24th.
Yeah, no, really excited for this one. Love Janelle Monáe as a singer and an actress, really. She's, so it'd be nice to see her take the lead in a film. Yeah, no, excuse me, how foolish. Yeah, I know this one.
Yeah, and another film, another horror film with a predominantly African American cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. It looks very Jordan Peele-esque, and I'm glad that we're at that stage already where, it looks as if other directors are taking influence from Jordan Peele when he's only released 2 films.
Yeah, and it's the kind of stories that haven't been told in horror films.
Yeah, and it's not a sequel, it's not a reboot, it's not a remake, It's not an adaptation. This is its own thing, and a few of the films on this list are their own thing, and I think that's what we need a lot more of within horror films now. Because I love a sequel. I'm a remake defender to a certain extent, but it's nice to see something original every now and then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, really excited for this one. I don't know why I was so silly as to forget. Yeah, great.
So what's next on yours?
So next on my list is Last Night in Soho. So this is the new film from Edgar Wright, famous for the Shaun of the Dead,
Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, Cornetto trilogy, and Baby Driver.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World he made as well.
Oh, he did, yeah. Yeah, that was alright. So this is less of a comedy, they're saying. So there's not much about it. I think it's going to come out later in the year.
I think this is going to be slightly bordering on giallo, by the looks of it.
Well, he says it's a psychological thriller, so it's not played for laughs, and it's going to be influenced by Roman Polanski's Repulsion and Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now.
Yeah.
Don't Look Now is one of my favourite films.
I listened to Edgar Wright talking on a podcast episode, I think it was for Eli Roth's History of Horror, and he adores Don't Look Now.
Yeah.
Like, he worships that film. So if he's being influenced, if he's using that to his advantage for his influence, then this is going to be great.
Yeah, this will be fantastic. And I didn't... Do you know what? It wasn't until I really read that bit where he says about Don't Look Now and Repulsion that I didn't really care all that much.
He's a fantastic director.
He is.
Edgar Wright is
but
a
I just
very
thought it'd
good
be
director.
another, horror comedy. But now that I know it's going to be played seriously, it's really piqued my interest.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen Hot Fuzz and The World's End, have you?
I haven't, no.
No, they're both very, very good films. In fact, Hot Fuzz, you can see to a certain extent a lot of influence from The Wicker Man and Rosemary's Baby in that film.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. There's a lot of horror influence in that, and of course, obviously, Shaun the Dead is a love letter to the zombie films of the Romero era. And The World's End is like a homage to the old school sci-fi films.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what he does with this.
I put Edgar Wright and Quentin Tarantino sort of together.
Yeah.
In the sense of they're directors who have great taste in films.
Yeah, they take films that they love and they kind of just do their own things with them. They don't necessarily remake them, but they just create massive.
They wear their
nods to
influences on their sleeve,
Yeah.
and then do their own thing with it. Which is, we're in 2020 now. We've had over a century of cinema. There are certain stories that, yes, are modern, and we can now tell. But there's always going to be some influence. There's always going to be something that's like, well, that's like that. That's like that. It's always going to happen because, that's where we are now.
Yeah.
No idea is truly 100% original. But if you can do something great with the influences that you have, then props to you.
Well, this is why, going back to the start of the episode, this is why I loved Jojo Rabbit so much. That was completely original. I couldn't think of anything else like that's ever been made. I couldn't...
but then you can sit there and say, well, the whole Hitler played for comedy thing, The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin did it.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want to sit here and say that because Jojo Rabbit is its own film.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that there are no real original ideas anymore, but what you do with them is your own, and that's how you make a great film. And which is what Jojo Rabbit did. Yeah.
Well, going from, as I've said about our original films, going from something that is its own device to a sequel, I've got next on my list, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Is this the one with the werewolf?
Originally it was meant to be the one with the werewolf, but apparently this is rumoured to focus on the story of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, who killed his landlord in 1981, and there's a whole book about it.
Oh.
So he killed his landlord, said he was possessed, and
The Devil Made Me Do It.
The Warrens did an exorcism on him. And that's what this film's going to be, his court case, by the looks of it.
Okay.
Which is going to be very, very different to the first two films and everything else that's came with
as
it as well.
Should be, though, because Annabelle, what was that called?
Comes Home.
Comes Home. Okay, it did it fairly well, but, it's the same film over and over again.
Well, I find with the Conjuring franchise, if it's got the Conjuring or the Annabelle name on it, you're at least guaranteed a good film. You look at The Nun and The Curse of La Llorona, I need I say anymore. You get to the point where the other films, they feel forced. The Conjuring and Annabelle, they both work because there's a lot you could do with them. I mean, The Nun was obviously originally a character in The Conjuring 2. So I think she worked better as that, this mysterious figure in there. And it wasn't necessarily, linked to the Warren story. This was just played for cinematic elements.
Yeah.
And it worked. But then when you give the Nun her own film and you've got to force in other characters from the Conjuring universe, it just... It feels exactly what it is, forced, It feels very generic. The scares are very generic, and then The Curse of La Llorona, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that. That literally has 20 seconds connection to The Conjuring, where the priest from Annabelle is in it, and he says, I once met this haunted doll. And that was it. Why the fuck did that need to be connected to the Conjuring universe?
Yeah.
It doesn't... It's getting to the point where they're just they're clinging on to it. They didn't need to make that a Conjuring film. If that line of dialogue wasn't in it, it wouldn't be a Conjuring film. Curse, La Llorona, she wasn't in Annabelle Comes Home. She's not going to be in the next Conjuring film, as far as I know. But unfortunately, it is from the same director as The Curse of La Llorona.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not being directed by James Wan. But
is it the first Conjuring film to not be directed?
It's the first with the Conjuring title that hasn't been directed by James Wan. He's still producing.
Okay.
But it has got Vera Farmiga and it has got Patrick Wilson returning. So I think with that and the new direction, I think it will be good. I do still have faith in it, despite it being directed by Michael Chavez. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Chavez, I think.
I mean, not to go on too much about La Llorona, but it just missed all the cultural aspects of it, and that's a terrifying story that could have been told. And there's countless other films with that character in, but it just seemed very Americanized and...
It was dull.
Yeah.
It was dull. It was just same old.
Yeah.
Seen it before.
It didn't take advantage of that story and, the cultural origins of it. Instead, it just took that character, briefly told a story, and threw it into sequence after sequence of fucking jump scares and CGI ghosts, and it's fucking boring. We don't need that now.
People making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
As well, I hate that in horror films.
You don't need that now. We're not in that stage anymore. Obviously, Paranormal Activity. I'm a Paranormal Activity defender. 2009, that was released. We had a batch of found footage films. Insidious was released shortly after. I think Insidious is a modern horror masterpiece. You had your bunch of Insidious rip-offs. With that came The Conjuring. Miraculously, The Conjuring was even better than Insidious, and then you had more rip-offs coming with that. But then we hit a wall. We hit a wall with The Witch, and then we had Hereditary, we had Us, we had Get Out, we had Split, we had Midsommar. We're in the stage now of just well-made horror films. You got your action horror as well, like Ready or Not and You're Next. The ghost horror films, they're dying out. I don't know why Curse of La Llorona even needed to be released. I don't know why The Grudge needed to be released this year. It's something that's not as popular as it once was, and if you're going to do it, you've got to do it right, which hopefully The Conjuring 3 will do. And that's why it's on my list. I think they can do it with the Conjuring title.
And I think if they go the route that you've just said, this gentleman kills his landlord and this goes through the court case.
Yeah. And
he says he's possessed and the exorcism and everything. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds new.
Yeah, completely new.
It's a different dynamic. It's a different angle.
Yeah.
To look at these things, because the Conjuring 1 and 2 were essentially the same story of a family being torn apart by this entity or whatever it was.
But they still managed to, between 1 and 2, they still managed to make it feel different. Like Conjuring 2 is better than the Conjuring 1. It's the best thing they've released with that title so far. Annabelle. And the first Annabelle film wasn't very well received, but Annabelle Creation was fantastic. So good. Like, that was so much better than it had any right to be. Annabelle Comes Home was fun. It was the same old thing, but it was fun. And then you got La Llorona and Nun that are not fun. They're not new. They don't feel new. They feel the same old thing. Like they're doing a spin-off for The Crooked Man. Why? Get the fuck out of here. We don't need a Crooked Man film. Again, he worked better in The Conjuring 2.
That is a weird choice.
It's so weird. Like, what the fuck are they going to make a film of next? The Clapping Monkey from Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh god.
It's like, you don't need this shit. But I am glad. Rant over.
Are you right there, love?
Rant over. I'm glad
and that's the end of this week's podcast. Thank you for listening.
My rant is finished, but I'm glad that they are going down a different route with The Conjuring 3, is what I'm saying. And I am looking forward to it. What's next on your list?
Next on my list, and usually we would have a rant about remakes and sequels and such.
Would we?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of them.
I mean, I have just gone on a 10-minute rant about the Conjuring franchise. But...
So you were talking. I mean, we've had what so far? Quiet Place 2, Candyman is a spiritual sequel. Saw is a sequel. This one's a remake, and it is a horror film, and it's The Witches.
Yes.
I am so excited for this one. Really excited. I love Nicholas Roeg's original film with Angelica Houston. It is a horror film for kids, because fucking scary. It was scary. You've seen it.
I love The Witches.
Scary back in the day, and it seems to be in good hands. This remake. Anne Hathaway starring as the Grand High Witch, which I love Anne Hathaway.
I'm actually disappointed it's not the actress who played her at For the Love of Horror this year.
No, okay, let's not. Thank you. Let's not ruin it.
When we went to For the Love of Horror, a horror convention this year, there was they did a fancy dress competition, and they got this member of staff to dress up as the Grand High Witch. And
she's fucking annoying.
She was so fucking annoying.
She really was. She loved the sound of her own voice.
Yeah, she just kept repeating herself.
Oh, damn.
There are children on the stage. She sounded like she was trying to be Adrian Barbeau from Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
That's a random reference.
Many people know what that is now. Yeah, so Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Zemeckis.
Yeah. We're great with pronunciations today.
Yeah, I know, yeah. We're fucking it up, really. So he's done some great films.
Oh, yeah.
Back to the Future. And I hope he goes down the camp route, actually. I know it's a horror film, but it's a horror film for kids, so that's what I'm assuming. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be an 18. I don't. But he also directed Death Becomes Her.
Oh yeah, so it is in very good hands.
The epitome of camp.
Yeah.
So I know he can do it, and I hope that they do it with this one, and I hope it's a fun film, and I hope Anne Hathaway's good in it, because she had a shock in 2019, didn't she?
Just a bit, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty much read to filth front, back and centre, and I love her, so I would like to see her career continue in the direction it was going in, because she's a great actress.
This reminds me, did you know Blumhouse are remaking The Craft?
Oh.
I don't know if that's been released this year, if I'm honest, but
did you know that Blumhouse
remade
Black Christmas?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And it totally sounds like they're gonna do the same thing with The Craft. Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of that.
Come on. I've got 2 more films on my list that are and they're both Blumhouse, so
Do you remember when the worst Blumhouse film was Ready or Not?
No, I don't, because Ready or Not was a phenomenal film and it wasn't by Blumhouse.
Not Ready or Not. What's the one?
Truth or Dare.
Oh, I think there's a gas leak in here today. Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
Truth or Dare. Gary hated that. I wasn't a fan.
Gary hated that film. Excuse me. Did you enjoy it?
You hated that film. Gary absolutely detested it, and he was so excited because it was Blumhouse, and Blumhouse had never made a bad film. Blumhouse are the future of horror cinema, and Blumhouse, they deserve all the Oscars and shit. And then we watched Truth or Dare, and you were so disappointed, Russia.
Yes.
And now, in 2020, it's not even the worst Blumhouse film.
I know.
So, this time next year, you won't be seeing The Craft on my most anticipated films list.
You never know. I mean,
I
don't know when it's released. It might be released this year.
Oh, it might be like Netflix or something, or Shudder, or
God.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't need a Shudder exclusive after Hell House 3.
If it's anything like Black Christmas, then I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, coming from the famous studio Blumhouse, we have The Invisible Man.
Now this I'm excited for.
Yeah,
this is on my list as well.
Well, this is directed by Lee Whannell, who directed Upgrade, Insidious 3. He produced and wrote Saw with James Wan. He did. He stars in all the Insidious films. He's a fantastic name in horror, for starring, producing, and directing. I mean, Upgrade was phenomenal. He did such a fantastic job with that. And by the looks of the trailer, this is looking very promising.
This looks really, really good, and this really epitomizes what I was saying earlier about taking something that already exists.
Yeah.
The name, The Invisible Man, the idea. Forgive me, it's the H.G. Wells novel, isn't it? Thank you, because I fucked that up a few weeks ago, and I said George Orwell when I mentioned H.G. Wells. No one noticed, but I noticed. The H.G. Wells novel, the idea, the old Universal Monsters, Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
And this film ain't even about the Invisible Man.
No.
It's not. There's an Invisible Man in it, but this is the story of Elizabeth Moss's character.
Yeah.
You know, and that is how you do it. You take this premise, you take this idea, and you make it into something new, something fresh, something really exciting. You look at it from a different angle, you look at it from a different perspective. You know, in this case, it's of a woman who has been emotionally and physically, you know, assaulted.
Yeah.
By this guy. And it's in the trailer, and he seemingly dies.
Yeah, he takes his own life.
Leaves
all of his fortune to her, and then people start mysteriously dying.
But it's pretty much, in the trailer, the whole idea is that he's not killed himself, he's made himself invisible. And what he's doing is trying to make her feel like, or seem like she's going insane, so she's not mentally competent enough to inherit this money from him. Now that is a fucking good premise.
Yeah.
For a film.
I mean, immediately...
That is exciting.
Immediately for me, we haven't seen the film yet, we've only seen the trailer, but for me, I'm taking away from that, you know, another way of telling the story of the effects that, domestic abuse can have on
Absolutely.
a person.
Absolutely.
And with the Invisible Man being a metaphor for the trauma from it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's out on February 28th, so not long to go till that one. I'm really, really excited to see how that plays out.
And I think that's a film that can have many, many layers and just really be fascinating and interesting and scary.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's the holy grail of horror films.
Yeah. Should we just mention the fact that was originally going to be within the Dark universe that was started with Dracula Reborn, then cancelled, and then started again with The Mummy, then cancelled, and yeah, now it's this.
Yeah.
Originally it was going to be Johnny Depp playing the Invisible Man, if I remember right. I mean, we don't employ Johnny Depp these days, do we?
Would you call that... So, the Tom Cruise film of The Mummy, I didn't see it.
Bullshit.
You watched it. Awful. And you hated it.
Yeah.
Were they calling that horror?
Yeah.
Because to me, it just looked like an action
film. It was but I don't get why The Mummy is being translated as an action film, like, with Brendan Fraser and then with the Tom Cruise one. It was a fucking horror film. Why is it an action film all of a sudden? It was played to be an action horror. But it was set up like the MCU, like you could see the creature from the Black Lagoon's hand in one of the shots, and there's hints at other monsters and blah blah whatever. Russell Crowe was Jekyll and Hyde and all that shit. But yeah, I'm very glad that was scrapped because it looks like it's actually in good hands now. I think if they do continue doing Universal Monster adaptations, should I say, then this is the best way to go forward. You know, old idea, new take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, really excited. Next on my list is, well...
Why is this on your list?
Well, this is on my list because it's The Turning. So it's a new film based on the Henry James novel, Turn of the Screw. And that novel was adapted, The Innocents.
Yeah.
God, I cannot fucking talk today. What is wrong? I swear, I swear there's something in the air in here, because we're both having a meltdown.
It's that Conjuring, man.
So The Innocents, the Deborah Carr film, very good, very well received, fantastic film. So I was like, oh, I thought they were going to modernise it, calling it The Turning, making it hip and cool.
Do you know, it doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't look that bad. It does look quite good. It's got the kid from It and Stranger Things.
Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah. So it does look interesting. The premise is essentially the nanny goes to look after these kids in an old house. The house is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially. There we go. I know it's another ghost story, but it's the ghost story,
Yeah.
Turn of the Screw was, from the 19th century. It was very new at the time, so I don't know. I'm just talking shit now because I have a few issues. The film was in development hell for a while. Producer Steven Spielberg actually scrapped it after spending $5 million on it, and then decided, oh no, we'll finish this off. And it's also being released in January. It's a horror film. It's out on the 24th of Jan, which doesn't bode well.
When has that ever gone wrong?
For horror films. A January release for horror films is usually a death curse.
Mm-hmm.
You go onto the IMDb page and it looks like there's been no reviews yet. Usually there's a few, isn't there, that from sneak previews and such.
Yeah.
Usually, because it was Black Christmas as well, wasn't it? It got released and then, the IMDb rating was crap. So I'm a bit nervous about this one. It is on my list because I like the story. I really enjoyed The Innocents, but I'm a bit nervous.
Do you want to go to your next one?
Yeah, let's go to my next one. So next one is a Netflix film. We haven't really spoken about Netflix films. I don't know what's coming out on Netflix.
No, it's difficult because IMDb doesn't really tell you.
Well, they had a big Twitter feed of them announcing what's coming in 2020 on Netflix, but it was really long and I couldn't.
Yeah, if I'm honest,
patience.
with Netflix horror, I rarely care about it because it's always the same shit. It's always they release a film. It's meant to be the most shocking film of all time. People are turning it off because they're so scared. People are throwing up and whatever.
Oh god!
And then
just remember that Veronica.
I know, and then you watch it and it's just like, is that it?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not dismissing all Netflix horror films. I'm sure there'll be some good ones released this year, but I've mainly focused on things outside of Netflix on my list. I mean, like theatrical, and of course with the case of VFW, smaller horror films that might not even get a distribution deal. Because I mean, a lot of those can be better. I find Netflix could be very generic, and I am looking at you in the tall grass.
But this one is a Netflix film. It's Army of the Dead. Now, this is by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, that gives me faith.
Who directed the remake of Dawn of the Dead in 2004. A really good remake. Yeah. This was meant to be a sort of sequel to it, but they sort of scrapped that idea. Apparently the script was very dark. Very, very dark. So they've scrapped that, and they've got a new story. It's Dave Bautista, who I'm starting to really like.
Oh, he's great.
I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, so I always knew him as a wrestler. He was never really my favourite wrestler. But I've seen him like Guardians of the Galaxy and such, and I thought he was pretty good in the new Blade Runner film.
Yeah.
The newest Blade Runner film, excuse me. And he'll play a mercenary hoping to pull off a heist in zombie-infected Las Vegas. That sounds great. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like a video game, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it does sound good, and Zack Snyder's a great director. I mean, you know, he always, even if his films are bad, he always, you know, has a great vision, great cinematography.
He's done a lot of DC films,
He has, yeah. But no, you know, I'm excited. He's very good when it comes to horror. Like I said, I love the Dawn of the Dead remake, so I'm excited to see what he does with this.
Yeah, that should be good. I don't know about release dates. I haven't written any of them down apart from The Turning, because that was a big, big red flag.
I've saved this one for last because I think we could probably both agree this is both of our most anticipated horror film, up there with our most anticipated films of the year. Is of course Halloween Kills.
Yes.
Directed once again by David Gordon Green, the guy who saved Halloween. Released on October 16th and starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Matichak, Matichak. You know we're shit at pronunciations today. Forgive us.
Pronunciations.
Oh, go fuck yourself. Kyle Richards, Anthony Michael Hall, Charles Cyphers, Nancy Stevens, Nick Castle, James Jude Courtney. I cannot wait for this film. I'm so excited.
This will be good.
We loved the last Halloween sequel, which was, called Halloween. Again, Blumhouse. This is why I don't get how they did so bad with Black Christmas. They fucking killed it with Halloween. I suppose obviously the director's probably a lot to blame as well. But yeah, the last Halloween sequel was just perfect. It is the best Halloween sequel. This is how the franchise should go. They completely ignored everything from the end of 1 onwards. I just really hope they could do it again with this one.
Yeah.
When you look at that cast, so many original actors from Halloween returning, from the original Halloween. Kyle Richards. Who the fuck thought that had ever happened?
I didn't know. Now she's a Beverly housewife. Beverly Hills housewife.
Charles Cyphers. Who the fuck thought that had happened? You know,
I thought he was dead.
Wow. Nancy Stevens, who played the nurse in the original. You know, this is amazing. And of course, Jamie Lee Curtis. But this is the first of 2 Halloween sequels being released. Next year we've got Halloween Ends, which is the conclusion of this new trilogy. Yeah, I'm honestly just really, really excited for it.
Where do you think they're going to go with the story?
Well,
having so many of the original characters back. The sequel, the 2018 sequel, was, Laurie's story and her trauma. And that was really what the film was about. Her not ever having gotten over what happened that night. And rightfully so, because he did come back and try and kill her. Spoiler alert, excuse me. What is this film going to be about? Having so many of the characters back, whose story is it going to... Are we going to look at how it affected the kids?
Yes. I think so. I think it will delve into all of them and how, this figure from their past returning, could have the effect on them. Obviously Charles Cyphers' daughter died in the original Halloween.
Yeah.
So
do you think that Laurie will take a little bit of a back seat in this one?
I don't know. 'Cause this has very much been marketed as her story.
Yeah.
This is still marketed, this and the next film, marketed as the Laurie and Michael Myers story. So I don't think she's going to take a backseat, but I also think these older characters may have bigger roles as well than we think they're going to have.
She might be the link for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no trailer up yet, but from what footage and images we have seen, we can see some of it takes place at the Haddonfield Hospital from Halloween, the original Halloween 2. So I'm interested to see whether they go down a Halloween 2 route and whether they do set it in the hospital throughout the whole film, or... I kind of hope they don't, because then that's really treading on old ground. But at the same time, maybe it could work. I don't know.
Well, it was always a good premise, Halloween 2.
Thank God Rob Zombie's not directing it. But I'm so excited for that. And here's some mentions of films that aren't necessarily horror films, but we're excited for. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Finn Wolfhard again. He seems to be the young face of horror these days.
He does.
He's in so much, and it's normally always great. We haven't seen The Turning yet. But the old cast are coming back as well. It's fucking Sigourney Weaver's coming back for it.
Yes.
I actually didn't hate the all-female reboot myself, but I am excited to see the original cast returning. 1917 that's coming out next week.
Yes, really excited for that one. It's that time of year now where we're going to get all these Oscar worthy films. It's a bit harsh, really, that they all get sort of...
Get released in a dump month.
Yeah, well, they do, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Because it's coming up to that period. It's fresh in people's minds. And it's a shame, really, because you get films from last year who we could sit here and say are really worthy, but they get overlooked because all these films... You know, the fucking Golden Globes are tonight.
Yeah.
And a lot of those films haven't even been released in the UK.
Yeah.
It really pisses me off. I'm rooting for Jennifer Lopez, by the way. That film was released last year.
Jennifer Lopez and Laura Dern.
Yeah.
I don't care which one wins it. Either of them do.
But
or the actress from Booksmart.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah,
sorry, that was my little rant about...
1917 next week looks incredible. We're seeing Bombshell on Tuesday, which I am so excited for.
Yeah.
That is... The trailer looks incredible.
Yeah, and that's a very modern story that needs to be told, and really excited. And Nicole Kidman looks great in that film.
As with the next few films on this list, they're very... predominantly female cast.
Good.
Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson is absolutely tearing at my heartstrings this past year. 3 films she's been in, I've watched. 3 films has made me cry. I don't know if Black Widow is going to do the same. Misbehaviour with Keira Knightley, which looks really, really good.
Remind me.
It's not necessarily an old period drama, but it's set in the 70s, if I remember right.
Oh, is this... Oh, yes. Is this the one where a group of women hatch a plan to disrupt the 1970 Miss World Beauty competition in London?
Yes, IMDb, that is the one.
Yeah, this one looks really interesting. That should be fun. Nice little British film, I think that is.
Promising Young Woman looks incredible. Wonder Woman 1984.
Wonder Woman 1984 I am so excited for, and I don't get excited over comic book films. I don't. Sorry.
Joker.
Joker, and yeah, I didn't get that excited over this.
We watched a bunch of films to get prepared for it.
Yeah, but films I wanted to watch. But this film I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. I mean, Wonder Woman in the 80s, I can't think of anything more perfect. Bill and Ted Face the Music. I am so excited for this. I love the first 2 Bill and Ted films. And Samara Weaving's going to be in this, and you know I love Samara Weaving.
Yes, yeah. She's quickly becoming one of your favourites,
She is.
isn't she?
Eternals, another MCU film being released later next year. Apparently with the first lead gay character in a Marvel film.
Okay.
So it's not just going to be a throwaway character. Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
No, you're not excited?
Not really. I hope they do it all right. This one they could really screw up. They've progressively been getting worse, I find.
Not really, because I mean Godzilla was
King Kong
all
Skull
right.
Island.
Skull Island was fantastic.
Yeah, and then it was Godzilla.
King of the Monsters.
What was
The
King
first
of the
Godzilla was
Monsters?
before Skull Island.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. And last but not least, Dune.
Yes. When's that out?
In December.
And that's from the same director as Blade Runner...
The sequel.
2049. Yeah, so that should be really good. We've not seen the David Lynch version, have we?
No, but we'll be making our way for his films very soon.
Yeah, that didn't do too well. A lot of people didn't like that one, so hopefully. But I think if it the way he did Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I think if he does the same. Oh, excuse me.
Neighbours are having a fall over upstairs.
But I think if he does the same with Dune,
yeah,
I think it should be visually stunning masterpiece.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, you've heard about the films coming out this year. Now, what you've all been waiting for is our schedule. We've got coming up this year.
Yes.
Most exciting part of the episode. Worth the wait.
My phone has just been buzzing.
Listen to all our mistakes this episode and pronouncing things wrong.
Yeah.
All to get to this moment. So, we have a new... Because, I mean, you know, we love doing this. We love doing the podcast. And we want to release more stuff. So, we've decided to put out something a little extra every month. So, from now on the last Friday of each month, we will be releasing a bonus episode where we talk about original versus remake.
Yes, yeah, because I sort of said in this episode, you know, sometimes we're a little harsh on sequels and remakes, and I mean, I am. Sometimes I think, oh God, not another one.
Well, we're both probably going to be very harsh on the first episode.
Oh, yeah, no, these are definitely going to be rant-worthy films.
Yeah. We're starting this off on January 31st with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, it's kind of unfair on the remake, because the first one is, you know, within our... I think both our top 5 favourite films of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we've seen the remake. We're not going to say anything about it now. We don't want to spoil what we've got to say about it, but I'm sure you can probably guess. And then, so then we're going to continue that for the rest of the year, see if you guys like it, and go from there. If you have any suggestions as to what you want to hear, let us know. February, we're splitting in 2. We've got the first 2 weeks of Valentine's special episodes, and then 2 episodes of films for Women in Horror Month. So these are going to be films with strong female leads that, you know, give great female representation, maybe some bad female representation, so we've discussed it and compared the two. Then, of course, we've got our Friday the 13th episodes in March and November, where we'll be talking about parts 2 and 3. June, we've got Pride Month, so we'll be dedicating an entire month to talking about LGBT films. And on August the 18th, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day, a new yearly event we'll be doing where we'll cover the whole franchise over the course of a lot of years on August the 18th each year. And then October, we will be covering... What is wrong with me? We'll be covering the entire Halloween franchise, including Halloween Kills. From start to finish.
Will we?
Yes, we discussed this.
Yeah, I'm joking.
So, we will be discussing the original, 2, Season of the Witch, 4, 5, 6, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, 2018 sequel, and this year's latest sequel. Do you think that's going to be fun?
I think some of it will.
Are you excited for the Rob Zombie episode?
Do you know what my thing is? I haven't actually seen the really shit ones. So I've seen Halloween 1 and 2. 2's a pretty decent sequel.
Yeah.
I've seen 3. I didn't like 3, not gonna lie. 4's a pretty decent sequel. I haven't seen 5, 6. I've seen H2O. That was good. Haven't seen Resurrection. I've seen the remake. That was there. I haven't seen the sequel to the remake.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
So, yeah, the actual dog shit of the series I haven't actually watched yet.
Wow, excited for that. And next week we'll be talking about Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. A present I got you for Christmas.
Yes, yeah. It's the only present he got me for Christmas.
That is bullshit. And so is this film. So... I hope you're excited.
I haven't seen it before, by all accounts, because I it was when I was sort of getting into horror when this came out around that time, and I was like, oh, you know, that would be interesting. Fortunately, I never got to watch it
until
now. So,
get your black eyeliner and black nail varnish ready, because this is an all-out emo goth. Early 2000s new metal horror film.
Oh no. To like Limp Bizkit.
This is the
direct
film equivalent of Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park.
Oh God.
This is going to be great. So, that's our most anticipated horror films of the year and our schedule. We obviously have many other things coming up as well, but those are the highlights that we have coming up. So, thank you for listening. If you're listening on iTunes, don't forget to rate, review and subscribe. And like and follow on everything else. We're on social media, Horror Cult Trash over on Instagram and Facebook. Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. I'm Gazmo205 on Instagram, GasCruise92 on Twitter, and DeaditeGaz92 on Letterboxd.
I'm Chris...
You're still here? You're still here?
I'm Chris Barker 823 on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd.
And yeah, so we'll see you same time, same place next week with Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2.
Bye.